So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is part 2 of working in the Imagimorphia by Kirby Rozan. And I'm doing the castle page. And I've struggled for a while about big colours and big spaces, but I ended up with one of these palette sets from Winsor & Newton, and it's the Cotman set. So they're not professional watercolours, they're student grade or studio grade as they say, but there's full pans, 24 colours, and they're really handy and they're really nice, well pigmented, and they're perfect for a colour book. So I was really impressed with one of the red colours that I've got, and I've used it for the fox on another page. So it's a really nice kind of brick red, orangey red, but it works well for a fox, and it also works well. It works well for bricks as a castle, and that means that when I want to make a little colour book, and it'll have all my colours on it and from different pages, and it'll have a brief description of how I've mixed them or what I've used, and so that's going to be like a colour guide, so that if I do forget or if I don't have any inspiration, I can flick through this book and I'll be able to think, oh well, I'll go have a look at such and such a page and find the colours that I want. So that's another new thing that I need to do, is to have my colour book guide. So that'll be new for next week, I think. So I'll pan it in, or zoom in, and then you can see a bit more detail. And give me a second. Oopsie. Bit of a shocker, but that's going to be quite zoomed in. Just have to play back with the autofocus. That should be okay. See if we can find a word. Oh, it's not too bad. So I'm just taking the watercolours just to the normal consistency of a watercolour, but I'm using the Art Master Pearl series, and I don't actually know who make them, but it seems to be like a fairly chunky brush to a point. And I do have, actually quite a few of them. Oopsie. And they seem to hold not too much water, but just enough. The other one I use is the 10-0, and that's a Graduate De La Rowney liner. But the others is a 6, a 4, and a 2, and they're all adequate enough for a page this size. So you've got a big one for a big space, and the finer ones for some really tiny spaces, and there are a few tiny spaces in this book. So I'm going to focus on the dragon. I think we're going to have a bit of a red dragon going on, I think. I'll try not to keep crossing the thing. So I've got a cad red, but actually there's a cad red deep, and I would explain that to be halfway between, and I do have my trusty bit of paper there, it's a halfway between an Elysian crimson and a cad red, so it's a warm deep red, and if you're not sure, we can go to the next one, which I think that one's cad red. I think I might want in between. So I've basically got both colours together, and I quite like that. So sometimes you've got to play about with the colours to get the one that's right. So this was going to be a red dragon. Now this is barely damp, so if you get this paintbrush loaded with the least amount of watercolour. So basically what I'm doing is I've got my colour here, but I'm twisting it out so I've got the barest minimum in. You have an effect like a perpetual marker, and it's really nice and easy to just... Now it's very flat, it's very much like I use the gouache, but I really like that effect it has, and it's very easy to use. So we're just going to slide that over there and do the other dragon. Now I've got a full brush. If it wasn't full, so it's going to be a bang. Sorry, teenagers going through doors, apologies. My studio is the dining room, and it's the passageway to get upstairs, so apologies, it's always going to be the bang. So if I move down here, now that's just that little bit too dry, so go back in with the tip. Now I could, if I wanted, I could go in there with clean the brush and then just get a tiny bit of colour on the end, and that will give me a variegated. But what I'm going to do is go in here, and remember this is a watercolour, it reacts just like a watercolour. So I'm going to go in there with a tiny bit of dark, and you can tell when it's getting dry. But you want to use all that colour if you can. So that is going into a flame, so that's worked quite nicely because it means I can use this red for the red flame. So I need to take the tiny brush, the liner. Now I can leave this red on here because it's watercolour, it'll wash out. You couldn't do that with anything else there, but you can do that with that. So I'm going to put a little bit of red here. Just to emphasise that that flame. So it's gone from red to orange, and I like that really difference, and I found that when I was doing the red poppies. I really enjoyed doing that. Let's try to go slow. And that's kind of led us into this. So I like the idea of that. I think I might give him I was going to say the red of the dragon, but just makes those flames that bit better. So poddling across, And do the same again. Just emphasize that red. Oh, sorry, bark alert. Sorry about that. Alfie, be quiet. He's not been his usual quiet self at all today. But he's not been tucked up. It's too much going on, you see. He's a bad boy. So, go back to the bigger brush. And as it behaves like a marker, it's really nice. Easy to work. Just be careful how you bang it, darling, please. Thank you. So, just sorry about that. It's feeding time at the zoo. Not sure if this is the right red, but I quite like it. We can make his... He's just got a bit of red flame going on there. So thanks for stopping by, guys, and thanks for watching on YouTube. And if you like everything I do or things I do, please like and subscribe. And any requests, I try to reply as soon as possible. If anybody, normally it's the following week if anybody wants to see anything in particular. So the oil painting session start was a bit of a disaster, but never mind, we're getting there. Not sure what I'm going to do to the legs. I think we need to do something to the legs before I forget them. So I think we're going to go... kind of got that brick red going. I think we might just carry on with the brick red. So watercolour is quite well behaved. It dries and then you just use a damp brush and get it back together again. Yes, Suzanne, tell your puppy to be quiet. And there he goes. See, you can tell the other girl's not home because he never does that. But of course, when she's not there, he plays up. So I'm not sure what we're going to do on Alfie's World, but I'm just looking for some more legs from our little dragon, and that's his belly. Oopsie. And oh, got a pair of legs here. Right, I think we've got all the legs. So I quite like the fact that they're still kind of a browny colour. And they're not near the bricks, so I found another one under there. So So I've got to do the head. I think I might actually do the head, the red as well. I think I will do that. Just to be a bit careful. So again, there's a lot of cleaning of brushes, which is something that you don't normally hear me do. You don't normally hear me do that. I think I'm going to go under there. I think we'll take that. I think we'll take that kind of a fawny brown, I think. And the beauty of them is that they will kind of merge together, because it's a watercolour, and they will blend together. There's no question about that. Now I've got that lovely pale, which is what I wanted. So it's the same brown, same brush, it's just naturally diluted itself. So I quite like that. And then if I really want to be clever, I can manipulate that to go from red to brown. And then just have a little bit of brown underneath, just to give it some depth, because he's obviously a grumpy boy. Look at him. Yes, tell him to be quiet, Suzanne. So now we've got to do exactly the same over there. So we had the red under here. I think that might be a flame. That was a grumpy boy. And then a bit of brown. A bit of brown here, which I think will go into there, and then that lovely soft fawn for his a really nice way of blending. And of course you've got to have the yellow and the orange. And the red. Oh, thank you, Suzanne. Right, so we've got his tummy now, and I'm terrible for tummies, but let's have a look. We've got a sap green, so let's have a look at sap green. I think sap green's going to be just right. No, I changed my mind. I've got a sap green, And then I'm going to put a little bit of, yeah, sap green's quite nice, but it's too green. Although the one on the screen looks actually quite nice. I'm going to put a touch of orange in it. Cadmium orange. That's nice. Just another bit of a touch of cadmium orange. And now I've turned that into kind of a, it's not really a green colour anymore, so I'm going to put some more green back in there. Yeah, so I quite like that colour, and it's not too bright, so oh, and I missed a flame there. So I've got to be a bit careful because it's still I've got a loaded paintbrush and it's a bit too damp, but really like this colour green. Hope I've made enough, because the chances are I won't be able to make it again. I've got a little butterfly there, so I think we'll do that purple. So it's like a light olive, I think. You would probably say that's a light olive for Mr. Dragon. So I did his tummy here. Oh, sorry, we got his tummy gone, and now we need this bit here. And you just, it's a lot easier, but once you've got something that you can see, I've tried to pick out things that are easier, because I'm a bit of a coward. So once I've got Mr. Dragon, I've just found a rocking chair there, so I know what colour that is. I can follow his tummy. All the way off the page. And this consistency, again, is just like having a perpetual felt pen. When you were a kid and you just coloured, and your felt pen seemed to go on forever and ever and ever, and it's just like that. It's just like that. And dried already. So just very carefully. Oops, sorry about this, trying to get to the, I don't know if I can move the camera. It's easier to move the camera. So I did make quite a lot of this green, so I've got enough for it, and I'm going to actually darken it to use it for the leaves. So apologies, I just hold, oops. Just hold the camera while I just give him a green belly. So I was quite frightened about that, but actually I found that green and I really like it. So it wasn't cadmium yellow, it's cadmium orange and sap green. And I like that colour, so I have to remember that. So I want to do, there aren't many leaves, are there? But I did find a rocking chair, so let's see if I can find this. see. Sorry, whoops. So I do have the brown, but I'm going to put a little bit of that olive green in it. I don't need it anymore. And it's going to just give me a kind of a fawn colour. It's a brown, but it's not a brown. It's an olive brown. It's actually a rocking chair. So colouring most of it in flat. And I like these leaves. I think they're normally kind of olivey colours, but I think I've lost the olive now, so let me go back and see if I can get it's kind of a bright green, is that? No, I've decided I'm going to do it the other way. I'm going the other way. I'm going just got to find my little piece, sorry about that. If you don't keep an eye on your baby wipes and they touch the end of your pages, they'll crinkle all your book. So I'm actually going to go for some cadmium yellow. I like that colour. It's a very pale colour now. It's like a yellow green. So I put some cadmium yellow into that sap green. And I've got another one here. Just put this one on. And again, there's something quite nice about working with a little paintbrush, a pot of water, and you can go back in if you want. So here, just see how many more I've got. Because when you finish them all, you can just change the colour slightly and then go back in all of them and put the shadow on. But what you can't do is go back and take the highlight shadow out. So see if we've got any more of those. Yes, there's one here. And there's a mushroom. I found a toadstool. There's a toadstool. Can always find a toadstool. Even in the middle of the water, there's always a toadstool. And mine are always red. Oh, it's got a baby toadstool as well. So the other grasses are different, so they'll be different colours. It's just these kind of large ones that I want to do differently. I can't see any more, but that doesn't mean they're not there. Oops, found one right at the top there. And again, the texture now and is just like having a perpetual marker. Just glides across the page. It's really, really easy to do. And there's a huge one right in the middle there. And when you've picked out one or two things like this, and it's with any kind of, I won't say complicated, I'll call it busy, any busy page, if you pick out certain things and pick them off one at a time, that's the easiest way. And I'm a coward, I pick out the leaves because they're green, then I pick the green that I want, and then I pick something else that's easy, and by the time you've gone through and picked lots of things, other things seem easier to see. I'm sure there's going to be one right in the middle there, look. And that becomes suddenly a planet, which I hadn't seen before. So there's all sorts of things popping up. I found another one there. Lost it now. Lost it now. There's a little heart. I think I might do that pterodactyl next because he seems to be... Oh, it's not a pterodactyl, it's a dragon. And there's yet another one there. I don't think there are as many on this one though, so it's not like the green man. The green man, there's a lot of these. Are the acorns, acorn leaves, they're funny shaped. Found a wedge of cheese there, look. It's a wedge of cheese. So I think I'm going to do the dragon next. Am I going to do the dragon next? There's another dragon at this side. It's the Statue of Liberty. I think we can get her done next. So thanks for stopping by, guys. Hope you're everybody's okay. I've got that Payne's Grey that I made, and I've mixed it with that olive that I've made as well, so I've ended up with kind of a grey-green colour, but it's a green-grey, it's not a... It's a really nice green-grey. So again, instead of getting that Payne's Grey out, I've added that to it, and it's given me this colour. And she's a stone lady, so she needs to be all stone. Got quite manly muscles on her just there. I don't think that's quite right. She was quite strong, but I didn't think she'd want big muscular biceps. And we have quite a lot of little dragons, so I think I might do them all red. Unless you can see the backs, I think I'm going to do them all kind of bright red. Oh, that was strange. What did I do with that? I put the little red one down. Didn't know it was there when I got it out. So I've got colour under here now. So I need a palette knife to scrape off all that red. And it's all gorgeous colours, it's not going anywhere, it's going on my palette. Because I'm a tight Yorkshire lass and I hate losing anything. Right, it's nearly all gone now. It's tight and obsessive. Right, it's gone now. That was a silly thing to do. I got it out to read the number on it. It stayed out. And that's fine because I've got the fox to do on the other page, so that will not be wasted. I just want a damp brush now. That'll do. So we need to find this one there. So I think I'm just going to fill those in, and then I can put a little bit of other colour to them later on. So we'll have lots of little red dragons, and again this is the red I'm using for a fox, and this is actually the same red as the bricks for the castle. One thing I have found is your pages aren't as shiny, so I think if you wanted to go on with pencils you could do, because there seems to be a chalkiness, like a little coating left, so you've got something left there to kind of get hold of if you wanted. But I kind of like these dragons. They're going to be, again, a bit stronger colour, full colour, so they're not going to be insipid against that brickwork, but it's exactly the same colour. So again, that's a beauty of watercolour. You can water it down for certain effects, and then you can use the same colour full on. Right next to something else. Little tail there. And again, that's sorted out all that muddle under there now, because we have a dragon. And for a minute I thought they were his fronds, but they're not, so looks like they are. Right, what else have we got? Any more? There's birds. There's another dragon down here. He's got a fork tail. So your watercolours really behave themselves, and they are really, really well pigmented, even though they're only student grade or studio grade. You know, they are perfectly okay for a colour book. Just get his so if you want it a little bit stronger again, you could go in and do under the wings, because we've got cross hatching and hatching there, so we've got these dark shadows with very little effort. The same with this one. Go back in there with just that little bit, but it makes all the difference. And yet we've hardly done anything. Right, so there's an eagle, that's a phoenix, isn't it? Oh, we've got another castle there. Have another castle wall. Any more dragons? There's no more dragons. No more dragons on that side, so have a quick look on that side. Creaky. It's not my arms, it's my chair. Oops, my chair. So we have a dragon here. And I actually like this colour next to the green, and it reminds me of a brick red house with ivy growing up it. So sometimes you can pick colours that you're not always sure where they come from, but they're all from your imagination somewhere. You've seen them somewhere, you just pluck them out of nowhere. Now I know this looks a bit orangey, but it's almost like a burnt orange. I think Osprey brought a handbag out a few years ago and it was called burnt orange. And it's very similar to that. I've seen a flying turtle, but we need another dragon. I don't know what that is. I don't think that's a dragon. I have no idea what that is. I think it's a type of dragon, so... Again, if I'm not sure, I sometimes leave it, because I could be wrong. So I found another tower at the other side, so I'll just fill the tower in. Oh, thank you, Claudia. Well, I must admit, I love working in this peaceful way. I think people could go to sleep watching me. I like this. It's very calming, and I've had a bit of a frantic day today. Found a castle there, look. So it's quite nice to be peaceful. So, thanks for watching. I think the other word for it is it's boring. Watching some people's paint dry, but it's very therapeutic, I think. I think it's quite therapeutic. Well, I hope it is anyway. So I'm going to go back into the grey that I made. This is a bit darker, but it'll do, I think. There seems to be some kind of a triffid growing out of there with a bright green leaf. I found a penguin. I found a harp. There's numerous fish floating about. I found a cat. Unusual things. So I've got to decide, are they flames coming out? So I'll pan out and you can see what's happened so far, because it has sorted out quite a lot. Because when you first look at these paint pictures, you kind of get a bit overwhelmed by them. Excuse me. But when you realise that you can pick a few things out and then you see something else. So we've done a fair bit. It's not so bad. Thank you, Claudia. As I say, I hope it's not kind of putting to sleep. I found quite a few things, and that little bit of green. And the dragons don't look the same, even though they are exactly the same colour. I think they are flames coming out. So if we have flames coming out, but then we've got the curly ones, I think are smoke, cloudy things. So sometimes I get really confused with those. So there's a few birds, but again, if you've got a dark background, that we don't want a light. There's lots of broomsticks. There's about 4 broomsticks. So that's a strange thing to have. So again, I can pick out the broomsticks, and I'm going to use the dark brown, but because we're using it quite not very wet, it's not going to come out dark brown. So we've got a kind of a broomstick going on there. And by picking off now these odd things, it becomes less busy. There's another one up here. Because I'm worried that if you make all the things dark. So that's another broomstick. There's a pumpkin there. Pumpkins are bright orange, aren't they? So I do have a bright orange. Just looking for more. broomsticks. I think that's a sunflower. Found a sunflower. Huge sunflower. And those strange looking fish as well. So the pumpkin can have a green stem. And then I made that gorgeous colour. Cadmium orange. But there's no reason why we can't put make some cadmium orange with a bit of red, and then I've got some bit of contrast. I can't remember what colour the fish is that's shark bait. No, not shark bait. On Finding Nemo, there's the fish that has his, I think he's blue and turquoise, isn't he? I can't think, so I might have to look him up because he looks like that. There's an eagle-y kind of type thing there. Can I do that brown? And I think sometimes if you do things half one colour and half another, you get a nice contrast. So. Oh, bye Carol, thanks for stopping by. So I'm going to do this, I'll zoom in a bit and do this one, and then you can see how we're getting on. Because my daughter will be home then, and then Alfie will Alfie will be with us. So this one is the dark brown, half the dark brown and half the red. And I would call that what do we call that? Sienna, because it's the red in the sienna that makes it warm. So that's almost a burnt sienna. Now I have burnt sienna in there somewhere. But it's a colour that I've made, so sometimes there's something quite nice about that. And again, I'm going for flat colour for the moment. Let's just put the flat coat on. And then we can tell we can get that colour in. And I think we just need a very dark beak. Sorry, a very bright orange beak. Now I've got a horse there, but I like white horses, so if I think of the white horse with all things around it, I think that might look okay. There seems to be lots and lots going on. And we do have all these cloudy things. I'm pretty sure that's a sunflower. So that's got an orange middle, hasn't it? And yellow petals, yep. Oopsie. And that's really nice cadmium yellow. Oh, actually, I don't think they are cadmium yellow. No, I think they are. Cadmium yellow. It's very bold, it's very bright. And we know it's a sunflower. And I've got a candle flame there. So, what else have we got that we can pick off and it looks... Because there's quite a lot going on in that area. See, that almost looks like sea and waves with all the fish. It's a bit busy, is this one? Again, is that a flame or is that one a cloud? That's a cloud. But then it goes into sea under there. I'm pretty sure that goes to sea. And that's a flame. So if it's a flame, I need to put it as a flame because I'll forget. So let's get these flames in. Again, I'm going to use the cad yellow because it's quite a nice bright. And then we can put the orange in later. So I'm going to take that up there. Then we've got the orange coming in there. So you've got to concentrate a bit now because there's quite a lot going on. What did Claudia say? Something seems so out of place. Yes, I think that's on purpose. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure it is. It's done on purpose. So just put a little bit of red in there. So I didn't know what colour to do with the dragon's body, and now I know because I've done this page. So you can always learn something from different pages. So I quite like that. I don't show what's going in. I think there's probably more flames. So I think that's a flame as well. So I'll do that one next as well. And the beauty of these paints is when they dry on the palette or plate or whatever you're using, they're not wasted because you just spray them with water or dip a paintbrush into them and you've got watercolour again. So again, I like that nothing's wasted. I think that's another one. I think that should be quite bright. You try and put the yellows in first. But very sneakily, this flames suddenly turns into C. So see, I think that's C. That's C coming that way, but that one's going that way. I think this one's gonna be... No, you see, that's a different one. It's a different one, but never mind. I think that's flames. Because some have got curly edges and some are just curled, and there's a difference. But I suppose it doesn't really matter. I don't think it really matters. I think I'm going to turn that one into smoke grey. I can't remember what I said, sorry. Did I say something? I can't remember what I said. So orange next. Orange next. That one I'm going to just splash, and that's going to be a splash. And that one's definitely... It's looking very flamey at the moment. I wonder if we could do a little... I think you could have flames as well, because you're looking quite the flaming type. I'm just going to squish over to this side and do some flames coming out of here. I think, pretty sure these are flames. So thanks for stopping by. Hope everybody's got headaches gone and everybody feels a lot better. I really love working like this. It's really therapeutic and it's quite fast, and it's not energetic. I like things that are not very energetic. Now that's the fish's tail, so I've got to be a bit careful in there, because that is the fish's tail and then that's something else. And I knew there's another broomstick somewhere. I found the other broomstick. So just need a touch of that red. So thanks for stopping by. I hope everybody's okay. I'll just finish off this bit because I say in a minute my daughter's going to arrive home and Alfie will be his usual self. He'll be quite naughty. I will just find that broomstick. Because I shall lose it again if I don't. So I've got a little broomstick in there now. So it hasn't taken long. There's one or two complicated little bits in there, but not so many. I'm going to do the tree at this side next because that looks a little bit easier. This has got kind of a tree growing up it, so you could use that. But I love the fact it's all flat. I quite like the bright colours as well, because I was getting I do very pale colours and I wanted to change that about a bit. So thanks for watching, and I hope that's okay. Some nice dragons in there. So thanks for watching. That's the end of part 2, I think.